2024 was not a great year for Pakistan's economy, but it was also not as bad as it could have been. I remember at the beginning of 2024, there were two major macroeconomic concerns about Pakistan's economy. The first concern was that the economy may get into deep recession, but actually, Pakistan's real GDP grew by 2.5% in fiscal year 2024. The second concern was that the country may default on its foreign loan liabilities. But again, the fiscal year 2024 has seen a 26% increase in the State Bank of Pakistan's held foreign exchange reserves. In fact, during the calendar year 2024, foreign exchange reserves have increased by around 40%. Also, the current account deficit has narrowed down to only 0.2% of GDP in fiscal year 2024. Now, given the context of Pakistan's economy and its economic crisis that it has encountered in past few years, these macroeconomic indicators can be seen in terms of the relative success of the economy. And there are many challenges that economy face, but I'm going to focus on two. One, the poverty rate, and second, the inadequate industrial capacity. Now, in terms of the poverty rate, according to World Bank's recent estimate, the poverty rate has increased to 41% in Pakistan. Now, it is directly tied with inflation. Of course, there are many other factors which contribute to rise in poverty rate, but inflation is one factor. But isn't inflation being on the downward trend? Well, yes, inflation has significantly slowed down, and it is now hovering around 5% in fiscal year 2024. And this is substantially lower as compared to high double-digit numbers of 2023. But inflation has already done its massive damage to people's purchasing power. Because remember, lower inflation rate does not mean decline in prices. It simply means that prices are increasing at a lower rate. In other words, people's purchasing power has been negatively impacted by inflation, and it has also contributed to rise in poverty rate. The second challenge that I am underscoring is the industrial sector output and decline in industrial sector output. In fact, it has declined by 1.2% in fiscal year 2024. It is directly tied to productive capacity of the economy. So we can argue that one of the major challenges of Pakistan's economy is inadequate productive capacity of the economy. Now, improving productive capacity of the economy requires technological advancement and the socially efficient allocation of resources. But the prevailing social relations of production, in particular, how production process is organized and managed, are in fact major constraints on the productive capacity of Pakistan's economy. In other words, how production is organized is directly tied to the distribution of economic resources in the economy. And we know that the distribution of economic resources is highly unequal in Pakistan. Therefore, the concentration of economic resources, such as land, in the hands of few is a major factor contributing to the suboptimal performance of Pakistan's economy as a whole. Now, one of the solutions lies in actively reallocating resources from unproductive to productive sectors of the economy. And this involves ending the distribution of cheap rents, for example, rent extraction from land economy. And this requires creating incentives for firms and households to invest in productive sector of the economy. In fact, the extraction of rents from land and property markets create a strong incentive for existing elites to maintain the status quo that benefit few economic actors who seems like does not have incentives to innovate or compete in exports market. So this means that the ongoing redistribution of resources from the lower to the upper economic strata must end so that economy can effectively and sustainably climb up the ladder of economic development. And in my understanding, that's an optimal way forward for inclusive and sustainable economic development in Pakistan.